Hey everybody, how you doing? It's Ira Anthony again with my second movie review. This one is going to be on Jordan Peele's sophomore project, Us. Everybody's talking about this movie right now. It's all over social media. This movie has so much buzz. It also has big shoes to fill because it is following behind his debut project, Get Out. Get Out, I love that movie. I didn't see that one right away. I did see it. I think I saw it within that first week, but I didn't see the opening weekend. It was after everyone was like, yo, you got to go see Get Out. And when I watched that movie, it already had a lot of expectations and hype behind it, which generally when you go into anything with a lot of expectations, even if it's good, you may be a little disappointed because like a lot of times the reality never meets the expectations. But Get Out did it. It was an awesome movie. So naturally, I was really excited to see what he had to offer with Us. So let's get right into it. Before we start, if you have not already subscribed, I would be very thankful if you did just hit that subscribe button. Just hit the little bing right there on YouTube. Everyone has a YouTube account. If you have a Google ID, you have a YouTube account.
What are you waiting for, huh? What are you waiting for? What are you waiting?
But yeah. So we're going to get into this really quick. This will be a spoiler-free review. If you guys want me to drop another review, so I can open up about things that I can't speak about in a spoiler-free review, let me know down in the comments, and I'll definitely drop that for you guys as well. So I'm going to get right into it. So Us. Man, this movie was insane. This movie was intense the entire time. Really enjoyed that. All right, real quick, I'm going to give you guys a brief synopsis of the movie. The film follows Adelaide and her family as they're enjoying a family vacation, where suddenly interrupted by seemingly doppelgangers, and these doppelgangers do not look very friendly. From that point on, it's a fight for survival. All right, let's start with the good. Lupita. Wow. I was really blown away by her performance. She gave a lot of depth to that character, and made you feel for the character that she was portraying, and to the point where you really wanted to see her come out on top and prevail. She did an amazing job. I feel like this role can skyrocket her career. I mean, it was a flawless performance in my opinion. Winston Duke, also amazing job by him. Overall, his character was really interesting. I did enjoy it for the most part. Definitely provided a nice, comical release in there. Which Jordan Peele, naturally he's a comedian, so he's definitely going to direct a lot of comic relief, even in horror films. This movie definitely took a deeper dive in the horror genre, more so than Get Out. I still consider these kind of like a social thriller. It's kind of creating his own genre with these movies. But the kids who played in this movie were also spot on. The intensity, like I said, I love the intensity. Even when there wasn't threat right in your face, the movie stayed intense the entire time. I really appreciate that. It kept me really on it. It kept me on the edge of my seats. So it does a really good job there as well. So, as far as acting, I think this acting alone, A+. Each actor, as you can see in the trailer, had to play dual characters, which is tough, especially for little children. But they absolutely nailed it. And all the characters had a lot of depth. Like, that's always a plus. Whether a character is a protagonist, antagonist, I appreciate depth in characters and character development. That's always important. I feel like most people will agree with me on that. Other elements that I like, the soundtrack was super dope. I feel like the music was always really well timed, and it was just like, sometimes you had nice rhythm to bob your head to kind of like coast, and sometimes you had that really chilling music. In a horror movie, the music can make all the difference in making a scene, more creepy and more intense. I think they nailed the job in that department as well. Other things that they did good, this was an original story once again. Jordan Peele, 2 for 2. I would give this movie 5 out of 5, as far as originality goes. And then Easter eggs, it's fun. Like, when you're watching a Jordan Peele movie now, it's almost like watching an MCU movie. You're also looking for Easter eggs and like.
Yeah, man.
oh, look at that little subliminal thing. So it may not mean anything important for the plot, but it's something you always want to pay attention to. And I personally have fun looking out for those. Now let's go with the bad. Now there was a lot of things I did not like in this movie. Actually, one of the things that I liked a lot in this movie was also something I didn't like in this movie, and that was the humor. The humor was really good. It was spot on, but sometimes it was not well positioned. Sometimes the humor kind of got in the way of the intensity of the film, and it took away from me, at least me. And I always feel this way when I'm watching a movie. I feel like you don't want the characters to be so smart and cerebral that they can just get themselves out of harm's way and that's it, movie over. But at the same time, I feel like characters shouldn't do anything that is so unnatural for a person to do in real life. You know what I mean? For instance, if I know there's a killer in my house, I'm not going to be like, hey, killer, can you hold on for a second? I want to finish watching the Duke game. Like, it's unrealistic. And that's not something that happened in a movie, but it's the only example I could, like, come off the top of my head. Like, I feel like characters always have to, for the most part, act naturally as we would in our own reality. So comedy was a little bit overdone for me. And sometimes it's like, okay, got the joke, and it just kept going. Didn't really care for it. Now, as I said, the plot and the story was dope. There was also a lot of holes and gaps. And a lot of people are on the internet like, oh, if you didn't like us, you're just not smart. You don't get it. That's not really true. The movie's still totally enjoyable to watch, and there's some things that you may have missed, but that doesn't mean that you're not smart. There was definitely things that I feel weren't explained very well. Could have been explained better. Like, to the point where I get it, but it's kind of forced, or it could be a reach. I felt that all acts of the movie were very strong, but then towards the end, I felt like it dragged on a little too long for me. But not a total deal breaker, but I do got to take some points off for that. The plot was nasty. Like, I love the plot, just like Get Out had a really dope plot, had Easter eggs, which is always fun to watch. But this movie was missing a lot, where I feel like where the gaps weren't completely closed, or there was a hole. It's like, oh, they didn't really think that went all the way through. And maybe I felt that they focused too much on trying to send a message or subliminals, to the point where they could have focused more on actually having a complete movie. I'm having a really hard time rating this movie just because there were so many things that I liked, but there's also things that I equally hated. For the most part, you're going to love or hate this movie. Some people are saying it's trash. Some people are saying it's instant classic. And even myself, I'm straddling the fence. I don't really know where to go with this. Half of me want to give this movie 2 out of 5 stars because I left really unsatisfied. And after letting it marinate, I wanted to give it a higher score. But there are really elements of this movie that made me want to give it a 4 out of 5. Like I said, the casting was great. The acting was great. It was an original story, great soundtrack. But unfortunately, there were too many things that weren't explained diligently enough, where the ends were tied a little too loose, and along with some displaced comedy. For that, I'm going to have to give a movie that would normally receive 5 out of 5, which would be a Hall of Fame rating, just like its predecessor, Get Out. But today, Jordan Peele's sophomore project is going to receive a 3 out of 5, which is an all-star rating. But let me know your thoughts. Did you love the movie? Did you hate the movie? Were you somewhere in between, like myself? I was really conflicted about what position I wanted to be on this movie. When I first left the movie, I was like, oh, this is terrible. Then I let it marinate on me, and then I was like, oh, this is actually a great movie. But anyways, thank you very much, guys. Appreciate your time. Please subscribe. I'm trying to hit 100 subscribers on YouTube. I'm going to be dropping these videos more frequently, but I definitely need your support. Right now, the only support I need is a thumbs up on this video and your subscription. My name is Ira Anthony, and that was my movie review of Us.